Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand, and welcome to the live draw of the Europa League. Sorry, guys, I was just sitting in a bit of a rush there. Just need to plug my proper microphone in. But yeah, welcome to the Champions League draw, not the Champions League draw. I'm all over the place. Welcome to the Europa League draw, and welcome to where we see what opposition that Manchester United get next in the tie. And I cannot wait for this, if I'm being honest. I think we've beat the hardest team that we could be, and now it's on to see who we can get next. I'm going to get into all of the opponents and get in to see who we could get. To be honest with you, am I worried about the opponents that we could get? Absolutely not. Do I think that we will struggle in the next round? No. Is that me being arrogant? Potentially, yeah, it is. But do you know what? I'm just absolutely buzzing to be here and get the draw going. So I'm excited. But everyone, get in your comments down below who you think we're going to get. I think it's just going to be Sociedad. I have this feeling it is going to be Sociedad in the next round. So I'm hoping it isn't, but I think it might be, because I just think it's written in the stars. And I was a bit disappointed that we could get Sociedad, considering that we had them in the group. We'll have to see who we get and see what it's gonna be. But everyone, get in the chat who you think it's going to be. I can already see a lot of it. David De Gea is the GOAT coming into the chat as well, which was obviously going to happen. I've got to say, I watched back. If anyone watched the fan forum last night, I watched back the highlights when I got in. I mean, I watched back the highlights about 10 times, as I'm sure everybody else did. But when I watched the highlights back, I have to say them saves he made were absolutely brilliant. So fair play to David De Gea. Them saves were unreal from him. And I have to say, especially the Koundé one, that was brilliant. And I wasn't expecting it, if I'm being honest. When I watched that in the stadium, I thought the saves were kind of a little bit standard, but when I watched them back, they were world class. So I have to agree with that. And George Bale has just got a super chat in saying, yes, I agree. It's going to be fixed for us. That's the thing. I feel like I'm putting it out there. The draw against Barcelona, it was a very unlikely event. The Europa League knew that was going to be the biggest draw in Europe at the time. It was bigger than all the Champions League games, bar probably Liverpool, Real Madrid. And they got a great spectacle out of it. It's brilliant for the Europa League for them. I mean, Barcelona and Manchester United playing each other in the Europa League is amazing. So I do feel like sometimes the draws, I'm not saying it is fixed, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was either way. So we'll have to see who we're going to get. And De Jong over Bellingham. Interesting stuff coming out from people. So let's see what happens. I have to say, when I watched De Jong last night, I thought he was brilliant. Like, he was the one player of Barcelona. I thought Balde stood out, and I thought De Jong stood out massively. I thought Busquets always stands out because he's an unbelievable player, but I really did think De Jong stood out. So I watched it and I was like, I was done with the De Jong saga. I was like, De Jong, no. He had his chance in the summer. He can't just come now. It's all well and good. But I watched him and I thought he would be perfect next to Casemiro in our midfield. I have to agree with that. And someone just put the draw is at 12. It's not. It's at 11. Get with the program. It's 11, everyone. So we're live for it. We're going to see who Manchester United are going to get, and I'm just excited to see who we are going to get and see what's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I will go through the teams that Manchester United can get in a moment, because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't fear any of them. I don't feel like any of these teams are tricky for us. I honestly don't. I feel like the teams that we could come against, I'm not going to be disrespectful to any of them, because we 100% could get beat. Like, that always could happen. But the teams that we can get, I feel personally for me that we've already played the hardest team in the group, so we should be winning these games. Absolutely. So I'm going to go through the teams now. So we have Fenerbahce, Ferencváros, who I can't even pronounce the name. I'm not going to lie to you. Feyenoord, Freiburg, Real Betis, Real Sociedad, and Union Saint-Gilloise. And a lot of people were thinking that was Union Berlin. It's not. It's a Belgian team. So they're the teams that we could get. None of them are on Barcelona's level. I think we all know the hardest team in the Europa League that we could come across is Arsenal. They're not in our draw this time. So we'll have to wait and see how the draw plays out. And I think yesterday kind of puts things into perspective a little bit. I mean, that was only a playoff game. We're now in the round of 16s. It literally felt like a final or a Champions League semi-final, or along them lines. It felt bigger because of the team that we're up against and because of the opposition that we had and because of the history. But realistically, we are in the round of 16 of the Europa League, and how amazing it was to beat Barcelona. the team should take so much from that, and the momentum that we've gathered to get forward now and go forward for the cup final and keep pushing in the Europa League. I think we're favourites to win it. I think the only team that could stop us would potentially be Arsenal, but I still fancy us against any team at the moment. I just heard Mark live before I came live, and I thought definitely fancy us against any team in Europe at the minute. There's teams that could definitely stop us 100%. But Erik ten Hag has got this team playing football. I thanked him on the forum last night. I'm in love with this guy. I'm literally in love with Erik ten Hag, and people commenting back, Bethy's got a wife. Not in that sense. I'm just in love with him in the fact that he's brought Manchester United back, and I truly believe he is the manager to take us forward. I mean, a Europa League this year, a Champions League next year, who says no? Do you know what I mean? Who says no to that? And do you know what I would say as well? Putting it out there, I was speaking to my brother last night about this, and looking at the Champions League this year, I'm so gutted we're not in it, because I really think we would have had a chance. This year in the Champions League, I really think that we would have had a massive chance, because I feel like when you look at the teams in the Champions League right now and the standard, I think everyone's kind of like dropped off a little bit of a level. Obviously, Manchester City are massive threats. Bayern Munich are obviously massive threats. But I do think in the Champions League, we could have maybe gone for it and got quite far. But we're in the Europa League, and that's what we've got to focus on. And we've got to look at that and think, let's take this trophy and let's do it. But I'm going to get the Europa League draw up and ready so we can see what is happening. Get it live on next to me. And Jose's Roma, everyone's talking about. I mean, Ricky was talking about it to me last night. He obviously, we can't get Roma in this side of the tie, but we could get them later down in the line in the tournament. And I felt that would be a great game. I would love to go over to Rome and watch that. I mean, I was saying the future. I always look at it in, and this is probably a little bit of a bad sense to look at it in. I always look at it when, if I'm going and doing a European away, what city am I in, and where am I going? What's the to do? What's the city like? What's the ground like? And maybe that isn't the best thing for me to look at it in, but I look at that and I think Roma would be amazing, Sporting would be amazing, but these are obviously all in future rounds. I tell you what, I don't want Sociedad, and no disrespect to Sociedad, San Sebastian was lovely. San Sebastian was a lovely place, but there was no nice food there. I tell you that. I could not get a bit of nice food to save my life. I was literally living off McDonald's, which it's all well and good, but it's not what I wanted. And there we go. The playoff winners are there up in front of me. Juventus, Leverkusen, Man United, Roma, Sevilla, Shakhtar. So many good, decent teams, but nobody really at the top level. And then you've got the group stage winners up in front of you as well. So, bet everyone's asking who I want in the draw. Personally, who I want Feyenoord, if I'm being honest. I think Feyenoord would be a great tie. Obviously, Malacia played for them. I think they're a decent team. It gives us a good game. And obviously going over to Holland would be amazing. And I think that's always a good time. They've got good crack. They've got good people there. Massive crowd that are going to massively get behind their team, and a rowdy crowd as well. I think it'd just be a great game. So I would love to get Feyenoord, if I'm being honest, but I don't think we will get them. I think we'll get Sociedad. I just have this feeling. I woke up this morning and I saw that Sociedad were able to get them, and I was like, no, not again. And do I think we can beat Sociedad? Absolutely, I think we can beat Sociedad. But the only problem with that is I look at it and I think it's just unnecessary. They're a team that we've always kind of struggled a little bit against. There's not going to be many goals. They play very tight, and we've already had that game this season. I want to move on to something else. So I'm excited. And yes, everyone, in the comments, smash a like down below. A bit of a shaky start. Rushing to get on this stream here, and I've got the Champions League mixed up with Europa League because Man United are that good. But the draw is on, and get a like in, subscribe down below, get your comments in, and see who it's put in the comments down below who you want to get, because I am very excited for this, and I think the draw is going to be fantastic, and we've got to see who we're going to get. Hopefully, it's not fixed. Not saying the Barcelona one was, but we'll have to see. There's no one really that can fix us against that's going to create huge headlines, I don't think. So we'll have to wait and see. And I also think the Europa League, now they've had that spectacle and they've got Barcelona and Man United kind of done, and it was amazing. It was amazing for Europe. It was amazing for the Europa League. They can look at it now and they'll want a good final. They'll want very good teams in the final, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Juventus are still in there. I think we can beat them. Roma is still in, beatable. Arsenal are still in, and I think we can beat Arsenal as well on our day, 100%. But they're definitely the hardest team to go against. And Beth, do you know what time the presser is? Charlie and Adam have just headed down there now. I'm pretty sure it's at 12 or half 12. 12 or half 12, I think, is when the press conference is. And Mark will be live after that, reacting to it as well. And Time of the Essence says, United fans are scared of Real Sociedad madness. I'm not scared of Sociedad. It's just a team I wouldn't want to get because I don't think they play great football. We don't do very well against Spanish teams. And we've had him quite a lot, and it's been like a 1-0 or a 0-0. And I do think Erik ten Hag has moved past that. I think he's got us playing a lot better than what we've played in the past, 100%. But I just fancy someone different. I fancy a change. I do fancy a Feyenoord. I do fancy a Fenerbahce, that sort of vibe. So we'll have to see. I mean, we've got Real Betis in there as well, which Real Betis, another Spanish side. We always struggle against Spanish opposition. I mean, apart from last night, we always do struggle against Spanish opposition. So I'd like to avoid them two teams if I'm being honest. Someone says, Beth, how was your experience at Old Trafford? Well, I am lucky enough that I do have an Old Trafford season ticket. And what I would say is it is absolutely unbelievable. And this season, it's got even better because what Erik ten Hag has actually managed to do with this team is absolutely outstanding, if I'm being honest. And I go every time. And at the moment, I'm just absolutely loving it. Like last night was absolutely unbelievable. I cannot get over what happened last night. I mean, I said I went to bed last night. I got in about 1 a.m. from the game and doing the forum. And I basically felt like I blinked and I woke up because I got in, I watched all the United stand videos, I watched all the extra content that Man United put out, watched the highlights about 10 times. And when I was in the stadium, I think I fell to the next row when Anthony scored that goal. It's just an unbelievable experience. So if you get to go. Last night, I know so many new faces were there. It was unbelievable. And the atmosphere was absolutely insane. And Erik ten Hag has brought that back to Old Trafford, which is unbelievable. I'm so happy about it, if I'm being honest. And I can't wait to see what else can come, because last night was just a glimpse of the future under Erik ten Hag, in my opinion. It was just a glimpse to kind of see what he could do with us in the future and see where Manchester United generally could end up with Erik ten Hag if he gets the backing that he deserves. They could be games that we have on the regular occurrence. I mean, getting back into the Champions League, having them games week in, week out is what we want to see. And I can't wait for that to happen. And I think that will happen under Erik ten Hag, 100%. And yeah, a lot of people saying the draw is at 12. It isn't at 12. It is literally happening right now. I can see it happening in front of me on the screen. So the Europa League draw is happening now, and we'll get to see who Manchester United do pull out of the draw. So we've got that coming on, and we'll be reacting to it live here. But get in the comments down below, because I know Frenkie de Jong had a great performance last night, and Erik ten Hag said himself that he sent Fred out there to man mark him. And I thought Frenkie de Jong was a standout player, if I'm being honest with you, for Barcelona last night. I thought he was brilliant. And the fact he had someone man marking him as well shows the skill level that this guy has. So for me personally, I would love to go back in for him. But would you go back in for de Jong in the summer? I want to ask the chat and see what they're saying on this. How long does the draw take? I'm not sure. I've never done one of these draws live before. This is my first time, so I'm kind of going through it with you. But I've watched them before, and I don't know how long it lasts, but I'm sure it won't be too long. They're just kind of doing the intro now for it and kind of showing all the teams on the screen. The draw hasn't started yet, but it is meant to kick off at 11. What time is it now? It is 11:05. So anytime now, I'm sure it'll kick off and start to go. And a lot of people are saying yes to Frenkie de Jong. He doesn't want to leave Barca. No, he doesn't. But after last night, I wouldn't be surprised if he's taking in that Old Trafford crowd, looking at that team with the likes of Casemiro, Varane, Martinez, and thinking, I want a piece of that. I want the crowd to sing my name here every week. I want to be playing in the Champions League next year. I want to be competing in the best league in the world, in the Premier League. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, because I feel like sometimes you have to see something and experience it to know what it's actually about. And there's a lot of rumours coming out that he thought Manchester United had bad luck, and Man United haven't been good. the last decade, they haven't been. They've never been consistently good. So you can understand why an outsider would think that. He's not a Man United fan, obviously. Barcelona are a giant in European football. So, but I think the fact he had this manager, he maybe should have known what was coming. And I think he'll realise now Man United are here to stay. Xavi was giving Man United loads of compliments, Erik ten Hag loads of compliments, and that can change players' minds sometimes when they see it. I tell you what, after last night, not getting carried away, but after last night, there'll be a lot of players all over the world watching that thinking, Man United are back. I wouldn't mind going there in the summer and being part of this project to bring Man United to back at the top of the Premier League, especially with all the ownership and what's going on there. It could be, I mean, if we manage to get an ownership in like Qatar, and I know people have mixed views on it, but if we manage to get an ownership in that's going to invest money into this football club, pay off the debts, it is going to be amazing for Manchester United, and rival opposition clubs should be worried, is what I would say on that. By Lips, he says San Sebastian is actually known for their amazing food. Second city with the most Michelin stars in the world. Michelin capital of the world. Where were these restaurants when I was there? Because I was looking around every corner trying to find some nice food. That's one thing about me. When I go on holiday, I like to eat at nice restaurants. I like to experience the culture. I love that. And I'm not saying, obviously, it was a little bit of a holiday, but it was also working as well. But me and Ryan, we were trying to find some nice food. I couldn't find it anywhere. So might need someone to link me some places if we get drawn them again. But the city was lovely. The people were lovely. But I couldn't find any nice food. Marcus Macedo Fisher Haddinge says, the best thing about last night was that we deserved the win. We didn't get dominated and fluke a win. Eric the Great. Exactly. Like, what chances did Barcelona create apart from that Koundé one, which Sancho should have followed the man, and the penalty that I think shouldn't have been a penalty? So that just shows how good we've been. I mean, Barcelona have conceded 7 goals in La Liga, I think, this year, something along them lines, and they shipped 4 against us in total over the course of 2 legs. It just shows where we're at, and that defence as well. That defence, I could talk about it all day. I was before we get onto the draw, and we will speak a little bit more about that. Before I went to bed last night, I was speaking to my brother when I got in, and we were saying, like, is it crazy to say that I would honestly say Varane, Martinez and Casemiro are the best 3 players in their positions in Europe? Right now, I could not name you a better centre-back than Varane and Martinez. Like, I just couldn't. And then you also have Casemiro, who's the best CDM in the world. The best 3 positions in Europe the best 3 players in Europe in their positions, and they play for Man United and the spine of our team. And that's why we're getting these results. That's why our defence is coping so well. That's why the team is functioning. We've got an amazing spine. And other players are stepping up, of course they are, but them 3 massively stood out again last night for me, along with other players. I mean, I could reel them off. Luke Shaw, like there's so many others that I could name as well. Ben Jr., Frenkie de Jong wouldn't even replace Fred in our current squad. In our midfield is already elite. We don't need him. Plus, there's better talent in Europe. Ben Jr., don't agree with you, but thanks for getting your opinion in. I think Frenkie de Jong would massively improve our midfield, and I think he's better than Fred, if I'm being honest. But Fred, again, good squad player to have. I'm not knocking him, but he is a good squad player. We've got Ryan FTW saying, does anyone have any news about Rashford in his fitness? Was at the game and saw him head for the tunnel with a boot off, worrying for the final on Sunday. Well, the thing is about Rashford, what I know about this is that when he came off, this is what Kev told me, so I'm relying on Kev's information here. Kev told me that when he came off, Erik ten Hag went over to him and he went, are you okay? And Rashford said, yeah, I'm all good. So I think if there was anything seriously wrong with Rashford, you'd really know in that moment, and he would have gone and had immediate treatment. I think he did end up sitting on the bench and waiting out until the end of the game. He was hobbling off, we know that, but I do think it's probably just an impact injury, or it's something quite minor. I think if it was anything big, we would have kind of had more news surrounding it, and it would have looked worse than what it was. I'm hoping so much that it is literally just an impact injury, and he's going to be absolutely fine, because he deserves to play. He deserves to play that final. He's been unbelievable for Manchester United, and I think he's going to be all right. So let's just hope. Hopefully we'll get some news on that in the press conference, which is coming up after this draw. But yep, the draw is still loading. I don't know what time this starts. Does anyone get in the comments down below? Does anyone know what time this draw starts? I looked it up and it said 11, but I think that's just when the stream started. I think it might be 11:15. It actually kind of kicks off and gets underway. And Fred on fire last night. Screw De Jong. Fred had a good second half. He had a good second half, and that goal with his right foot was good. And I know a lot of people saying it came off his shin, but it was still a great finish. And he was like a wasp on De Jong. He was, and De Jong still managed to play well. I think that shows how good De Jong is. I mean, what I can't get over with De Jong is, I don't want to waste too much time speaking about a player we don't have, but what I can't get over with De Jong is what I saw last night is the way he's able to pick the ball up in midfield. I've seen him do this before, but seeing it in person, you really kind of get a grasp. But pick the ball up in midfield and drive through that midfield with the ball basically glued to his foot. Like, that change of pace he has and his ability to carry the ball at ease through a midfield, which, by the way, he's got Casemiro and it's got Fred in it, it's got Bruno in it. It's a good midfield. He's great. Honestly, he's exactly what we need, I feel like, next to Casemiro. So I was kind of reluctant to go back into that saga this summer, because if a player don't want to come to United, they don't want to come at the end of the day. There's no point trying to get a player that doesn't want to come. But if he did kind of experience that last night and think again, he'd be a player that I'd be open to getting. And I can massively understand why Erik ten Hag is obsessed with him, because he is. He's absolutely obsessed with him, and I'm sure it will be round 2 in the summer. Draw is on now. Yes, the draw is on now. I can see it kind of kicking off and see what's going to happen and is going against. So we've got that. We've got that. Is that right? Is that right? Is that happened? I've got it up, and is a draw happened yet? Because I've got it up on the live stream and it says that Arsenal have got Juventus, but I don't know if that's actually kind of come up and happened right now. Because it just kind of went to the intro and then kind of went on to what's happening. So I need to look at that. It's starting now. Okay, so nothing's happened yet. The draw is just starting. Right, okay. Thank you, guys. I was worried I missed it for a second. It was coming up and it was like Arsenal versus Juventus and all these teams next to each other. I was like, right, so have I missed it? Well, no, we've not. It's starting now. Thank you. This is why I love the chat. They keep me updated. It's hard. I've got like multiple screens going on. I've got a lot here. So thank you for kind of keeping me updated on that. Yeah, Beth, that was a simulated test draw. Thank you. I was worried I missed it for a second. I was like, how did they draw all them teams that quickly? But yes, I've got it live on YouTube now, so hopefully I get it come through with ease and we can all react to it together. Someone says, let's all laugh at Barca. I don't want to laugh at Barca. I thought they put in a good performance. I thought they showed kind of what they were about, but I just think Erik ten Hag is absolutely smashing it at the moment. And he's absolutely smashing it with Manchester United, and he's smashing it in Europe. I'm putting it out there. Xavi knows it. Xavi was so complimentary of Erik ten Hag and everything that Erik ten Hag's doing. I think managers that are of a good ilk around the world will see Erik ten Hag and see what he's doing and realize this guy isn't here to play games. This guy is here to actually to do stuff with Manchester United and get Manchester United to the top level, play in the Champions League and beat teams like Barcelona on a regular basis, because what Erik ten Hag's doing in this short space of time is absolutely unreal. So I can't thank him enough for what he's doing, if I'm being honest. I don't know if the stream I've got is behind, because someone's just put... Oh, right, okay. We've got the draw going up. So it's Union Berlin against Union SG, which is a Belgium team. So that's a good draw for us. Next up, we've got Sevilla is away. Who is Sevilla against? Is it Sevilla? Am I on time here? It's not come through on me who Sevilla is. Sevilla and Fenerbahce. So Sevilla versus Fenerbahce, that'll be a good game. That'll be a great game. I'm excited for that. And Sevilla, I want them knocked out, if I'm being honest with you. I want Sevilla knocked out of this draw, because there again are a bogey team for us, a massive bogey team. People saying they wanted Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce would have been a good game, but it's a good draw. That at least one decent team kind of gets knocked out there, which is good for us. My stream's a little bit behind. So next up, let's see who we've got. Let's see who we've got. Arsenal haven't been drawn yet. People are asking who Arsenal have got. Arsenal haven't been drawn yet. So we've got Juventus. Let's see. Come on, Arsenal. Let's get Juventus. I would love Arsenal to get Juventus. Gets one good team knocked out of this tournament for us. I think Arsenal will beat Juventus, but still, I'd love it to happen. Someone just asked, when can we see a watch along with Beth? Ask Mark if that's what you want. Although we have got some stuff in the pipeline coming at the studio. We've got some good stuff in the pipeline, guys. Stay tuned. Freiburg, Juventus versus Freiburg. I wanted them to get Arsenal. I really wanted them to get Arsenal. Freiburg, German team. Juventus. I can only see Juventus going through, but Juventus aren't the Juventus of old. I'll put it that way. But Freiburg, let's be honest, they're not really a team to massively fear. So that, for me, it's one of them draws. Like, I don't really feel either way about it. They're fourth in the Bundesliga at the moment, though, to be fair to them, which is decent. They're fourth in the Bundesliga. So, you know what? It's one of them. I wanted it to be Arsenal so badly, but we'll have to see. Can Arsenal get Roma? I'd love that if Arsenal got Roma. And people saying we're getting Roma, we can't draw Roma. We cannot. We physically can't draw Roma. They're not in our group. So we have Leverkusen. Leverkusen are pulled out. Let's see who comes out with Leverkusen. Leverkusen are a decent team. I really like Frimpong. Ferencváros, the team I cannot pronounce, and that is no disrespect, but Ferencváros, well, that gets an easy team out of our draw, which is annoying. Hungarian team in Budapest, Ferencváros. Yes, they are drawn against Leverkusen. So some decent draws so far. For me, it's just standard. Like, Fenerbahce and Sevilla is probably the best draw that we've had so far, if I'm being honest. That's probably the one that I'd want to watch the most out of all these. Freiburg and Juventus as well. But Leverkusen, Ferencváros, and then we've got Sporting. I hope Sporting get through because I would love to get Sporting in the next round. I would honestly love it. A trip to Lisbon would be very, very nice. So next up after Sporting is... Oh my gosh, is it Arsenal? Yes. What a game. Sporting versus Arsenal. I'm telling you now, Sporting have the ability to knock Arsenal out. Arsenal are the favourites. Arsenal are absolutely the favourites, but Sporting have the ability to knock Arsenal out. That's going to be a great game. I'm a bit jealous of the Arsenal fans that get to go over to Lisbon and experience that, because Sporting, I've been to Sporting Stadium. It's great. The city is unreal. I love Lisbon. It's one of my favourite cities that I've been to, and that's going to be a great team. Man United are next. Man United are next. I'm excited for this. Oh, Man United versus Real Betis or Betis. I don't know how you say that, if I'm being honest. I'm not being honest how you say that, but Real Betis, get in the chats how I say it down below. I know we struggled against them a little bit in the past. I mean, we won the last game we had against them, but it was a tiny little bit of a struggle for us. And we always do struggle a little bit against Spanish teams. But gosh, more Spanish food for me. We just keep attracting Spain. We love it, don't we? Honestly, I knew we would get drawn against the Spanish team. I knew it was going to happen. But I'm glad it's not Fenerbahce. I'm glad it's not Fenerbahce. Sorry. I'm glad it's not Sociedad. I'm glad it's something different. But Real Betis, it'll be a good game. I knew it was Real Betis, but people in the chat were saying the way she's pronouncing Real Betis is wrong. I knew it was Real Betis. People in the chat are trying to kind of get onto me, then make me question my next move. We've got Roma. Yeah, Betis are 5th in La Liga, so it's not too shabby. Honestly, not too shabby. And everyone's saying we're up against Beth. How lovely. And Sociedad versus Roma. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. I couldn't call that one. I honestly couldn't call it. People would like to say it's going to be Roma, but Sociedad are a decent team, and then Shakhtar Donetsk and Feyenoord as the last draw. So an interesting draw there in the Europa League for the round of 16. It was inevitable that we were going to get a Spanish team. It really was. And yeah, off to Spain to eat some more Spanish food, and hopefully Real Betis has some better food to offer for me. I mean, that's what I've concluded from this draw. But no, honestly, I think Man United will get through that draw. Spanish teams are always tough. It's always tricky. But there's no reason why we shouldn't be beating them. If we're beating Barcelona, who are top of La Liga by 12 points, we should be beating fourth. Are they fourth or fifth? Let me go and have a look at Real Betis. We should be beating these, I think, with ease. Honestly, we've already played the toughest team in La Liga, in my opinion. Real Madrid actually are a massively tough team, but we can't get them. They are fifth in La Liga behind Atletico Madrid, but Real Sociedad, who we've already played before, are third. So out of the two, it was the better team to get, Real Betis from Real Sociedad. So I'm happy about that. But I would have loved a Fenerbahce. I would have loved a Feyenoord. I would have loved that type of game. But we're back off to Spain. They love it. They love drawing us with Spain. So I just don't think. I think at the moment, Manchester United should not fear anyone. They really shouldn't. They should fear no one. We can beat anybody in this Europa League. We're favourites to win for a reason. Arsenal are the only ones that worry me slightly, but I still think we can beat them. Erik ten Hag has got me believing. Like, I believe we're going to go to Anfield and we're going to win. When we went to the Nou Camp, I thought, I definitely think we can win this game. Erik ten Hag has got me going into massive games, hugely confident. Yesterday before the game, I was with Jordan outside Old Trafford. I was like, am I being overconfident for this game? And he was like, no, I don't think we are. We're not, because we went and won. We won 2-1, exactly like I said. So Erik ten Hag is putting belief back into the team, putting belief back into the fans. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Get in the comments. Are you happy with the draw or not? Glenn says it couldn't have been worse. How could it have been worse? I thought Arsenal have got a decent team in Sporting that can definitely knock them out. We saw what Sporting kind of did to Spurs. They can give a team a good go. And you've got Man United against a team that we can beat. Was it the best draw that we could have had? Absolutely not. I mean, if we would have got the likes of a Ferencváros from Hungary, I think that would have been an easier draw for us, but it's definitely not the worst. Do I want to go back to Spain again? Would I have liked a different change of scenery? Absolutely, but it's what we've got, and we've got to deal with it, and I definitely think we'll get through to the next round, and that's all what matters, if I'm being honest with you. Andrea says, I'm coming to Manchester United to watch... Oh, the chat has just gone there. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was, I'm coming to Manchester United to watch Man United versus Chelsea, and the chat's just disappeared on me. But if you're coming to that, then have an amazing... Oh, yeah. I'm coming to watch Man United versus Chelsea at Old Trafford from Norway, Beth. So I hope to find Tuss gang waiting for me outside. I'm handsome and funny. Thank you, Andreas, for that. We're always outside Old Trafford. I go to every single game that there is, and I'll be there. So come over and say hello. Introduce yourself, and we'll have a little bit of a chat. And Mark says, Rashford is out long term on socials. If someone's trying to troll me in the chat, please don't try it today, because I'll lose my head. I will lose my head. Rashford isn't out. Rashford isn't out. I'm going to have to look. I've got no news of Rashford being out coming to me. Someone's trying to have me on in the chat, aren't they? Someone is trying to have me on in the chat. I don't think we'll get any news on this until it's a press conference, and then that's inevitably going to get asked. But I didn't see anything on Marcus Rashford pop up then. Amazon Prime Video says, which Premier League team will progress the furthest, Arsenal or Man United? I'm clicking Man United. The vote, 55.3% Man United. That Barcelona game's got everyone hyped up. It's mad. Arsenal are top of the Premier League, and yet people still think Man United are going to win the Europa League over them because of what Erik ten Hag's doing with them. And I must say, if Arsenal slip up or Man City slip up, Man United have got to be in there. I think the momentum we've got at the moment, especially if we win the cup final after this week, we've got to be in there to be trying to get in and around the league. I have to say, it'd take Arsenal and City to slip up, because we don't play them again. But that'd be good. Everyone's laughing at my Barcelona.
Oh God, when you're speaking this quick, sometimes things like that happen. Why Barcelona? It's got a good rhyme to it. Got a good rhyme to it. Put the teams together, they still couldn't beat Man United. Erik ten Hag has got it on lock. Chaparican says, "Why are we always getting Spanish teams?" Yeah, I know. We always do. We always do. How is Arsenal going to get knocked out? That is bias," said Red Flyer. I didn't say Arsenal are going to get knocked out, but out of all of the teams, I think Sporting is a tough opponent to get out of the ones that are left in. It's not like the Champions League, so it's not got the Real Madrids, the Bayern Munichs, the Dortmunds, the PSGs in there. But out of the teams we've got, I think for Arsenal, the only ones that I think kind of could have been a better draw is maybe Sevilla, but they're not even doing well at the moment. Juventus. And apart from that, out of the ones that they could get, potentially Roma, I think that's a good draw, Sporting Lisbon for them. I think it's a tough draw. I think our draw is definitely easier than that. I'm going to put it out there, Spanish teams are tough for us, but I do think our draw is easier. But let's read out all of the draws again. We've got Union SG versus Union Berlin, so Belgium versus Germany in that one. We've got Fenerbahce versus Sevilla. That'll be a good game. I'm hoping Sevilla get knocked out because they have done us dirty before in the Europa League, so I don't want to face them again. We've got Freiburg versus Juventus. That, again, would be a good game considering Juventus aren't doing very well at the moment and Freiburg fourth in the Bundesliga. Ferencváros versus Leverkusen. Much of a muchness, really. I would expect Leverkusen to win, but you never know. Arsenal versus Sporting. Come on, Sporting. I want a trip to Lisbon and I want Arsenal to get knocked out. That would be amazing. And then we've got Real Betis versus Manchester United. Again, a Spanish team. It was inevitable, but could have been worse. We could have got Sociedad. Then we've got Real Sociedad versus Roma. I want Roma to go through. I would want a trip to Rome. I want to face Jose Mourinho again. It'll be good crack. It'll be a good game. There's an aura behind it. There's a story waiting to be written there. I'd rather Roma go through in that game. And then Feyenoord versus Shakhtar Donetsk. And again, I think Feyenoord will go through, but Shakhtar are decent. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But get in the comments down below. Is there anyone you worry about? Who do you worry about the most in them games? Like, do you actually look at them teams and think, oh yeah, United will struggle against that team? Because for me, I'm booking Budapest when I get home tonight, and I don't want to sound too cocky about it. I really don't. This could get clipped up. It could get clipped up. I said it after the game last night. We've beaten the hardest team in this competition, bar potentially Arsenal. I'm booking the hotel in Budapest. Like Klopp said, I might regret it. Book the hotel. Get it booked. I'm looking at it today because I'm looking at them teams. I think I don't know how United, if they carry on the way they're going, don't get to the final of this competition. And Jabrakin says, Beth, do you think Ten Hag will get back to this summer? It honestly depends if we get new owners in. And I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like this could get massively dragged out. I don't want to make it an ownership show. It's a Europa League draw. I mean, we're still in 4 competitions. The quadruple is still on. I'm not saying we're going to do it, but the quadruple is still on. And Erik ten Hag is working absolute magic. So I think he should get backed, but I think the ownership thing could massively long out. It could. I hope we get new owners in. I honestly do. I've got text messages flying in. Roma to go through and then us versus Mourinho in the final. You couldn't write it. That'd be great. That'd be absolutely insane. And again, I back Erik ten Hag. I back him all the way. I massively do. And Glenn says, you're brave, Beth. Mourinho's Roma can 1-0 anyone. I'm brave because this is what Erik ten Hag has done to me. This is what Erik ten Hag is made happen. This is what Erik ten Hag is put the belief in the fans. When I went to Old Trafford last night, I was confident going into a game against Barcelona at Old Trafford. And it's brilliant to see. It is. And I look at all the teams left in that competition. And yeah, there's some bogey teams in there. Yeah, there's some teams that love a 1-0. Yeah, there's some managers that you look at like Mourinho and think, oof, that could be a little bit of a tough one. There's a star behind it. But there's no one I think we couldn't beat. I honestly don't. And James Simpson Whitaker says Real Betis is 5th in La Liga, drew with Inter Milan, only just lost to Barca twice, so not an easy game. No, it's not. It's not an easy game. I never said it was an easy game, but I expect to beat them. I expect to beat them because I think we're better than them. in every department. I think we're better than Real Betis. I don't watch Real Betis on a weekly basis, but I know that we're better than them in every department. Still a tough game. We struggle against Spanish opposition. I think La Liga, I think the Prem's the strongest league in Europe, but I think La Liga's closely followed. And it'll be a good game. It'll be a good game, but I still expect us to win. And we can beat Sociedad, who are a tough opponent. We can beat Real Betis. And we've got chat saying Juventus incoming. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring anyone on right now. We do not fear anyone, and that is the mindset that everybody should have. Arsenal would make me very nervous not going to lie. Yeah, I've got to put it out there. Respect to Arsenal. They're the only team that would worry me. They're the only team that would worry me. I still back us, but the only team that would definitely worry me. But if we have everyone fit with Casemiro playing, I think we can beat them. I think we can beat them. And Matt Thrower says some big games coming up, but for me, I place getting into the Champions League above all others. Would be amazing to win the league or UEFA Cup, the quadruple. But I want Champions League next season. Yeah, we don't want to get carried away. Like Mark was saying on the show earlier, I was watching it while I was coming into the studio. Like Mark was saying, if you would have told me a Carabao Cup, a Europa League, and Champions League football next season, I would have shook your hand on that, and I would have said, you're having me on. Not with this team that we finished with last season. Erik ten Hag and the players have done huge amounts of work and progress to get us to this point, and we shouldn't take it for granted. I'm so behind this team at the moment. I love them all. I love them all. And people say I criticize De Gea. I do, because that's my opinion, but I still love this team, and I still love David De Gea. I still want him to do well, and there's such a buzz around this team at the moment. I'm excited. Ethersome Raja says, "Hey Mark, is there a problem with YouTube in England?" First of all, I'm not Mark, but thanks for your super chat. I don't think there is a problem with YouTube in England right now. The chat could maybe answer that for you. Jack Procane says again, we've got to get the Glazers out of here now. That's the dream. That's what I hope is going to happen. I'm just praying that the Glazers don't see what Erik ten Hag is doing with his club and start thinking to themselves, do you know what? This guy's going to win us trophies on a budget. This guy's world class manager. This guy's potentially going to be on Pep level. I think he's capable of it. I think he's capable of being Pep level. And I hope they don't see that and think, maybe we should stick around. Maybe it's not time to sell. It would be cruel. It would be so, so cruel. But you could also expect that from the owners such as the Glazers. They don't care about those fans. They don't care about it. And Leslie Makobi says, thanks for all the great work, Beth. You bring so much to the channel. Love from South Africa. Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate all the super chats and all the comments that are coming in. And thank you. Thank you for your support. But yeah, Real Betis versus Manchester United. A decent game. Back to Spain for us. I expect us to win, but not an easy game for sure. Definitely not an easy game. Definitely not an easy game. So I'll have to wait and see what happens. But I'm confident. Let's have a look at Real Betis. Before we go, let's have a look at Real Betis' last results. Let's have a little look at their last results that they've had. So we have, let's try and, so Barcelona beat them 2-1, but they did have a red card in that game. So they only just beat them. You are right on that one. But to be honest with you, there's certain teams in here that they're getting beat by. I think we can beat them. I think we can beat them. Atalanta beat them 3-0. Real Inter drew with them, so that was a decent result for them. I still think we beat them. I really do. If I'm being honest with you. I need to have a look as well. I probably should do this when I'm off stream, but I wanted to have a look at what the closest airport was to Real Betis. Just planning my holiday while I'm on stream. So it is Seville. And it's a lovely area. It's a lovely, lovely area. It could be a nice little trip, actually, that one. But I'm excited. I think the draw I think the game of the draw is Arsenal Sporting. I think that's going to be a cracker. I'm excited to watch that. Hopefully, Sporting can do the business, but Arsenal probably are the favourites in that game. But do you know what? Sporting are a decent team, so I'll have to wait and see. But thank you, everyone, for getting your comments in the chat. I'm confident. I'm happy. I'm so happy about Manchester United right now. I'm buzzing for us. The confidence is oozing out of the players. It's oozing out of the crowd. Old Trafford was insane. Martinez, Varane, Casemiro, Shaw, Bruno, Rashford. I mean, the list is endless of players that are just performing at the highest level for us right now. Erik ten Hag, his in-game substitutions, his in-game management, his man management, his squad rotation, everything is just tick, 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 tick. His tactics, amazing. I mean, you heard what Martinez said after the game. I can't tell you what Erik ten Hag said to us at halftime because it's not suitable for TV. He gets into these plays at halftime and you see the reaction and he makes the right tactical changes as well. He's a top-class manager that I think is going to take Manchester United back to the top. And you know what? We are still in 4 competitions. People are saying, should we sacrifice the Europa League because we've got a Carabao Cup final on Sunday? No, we shouldn't. We go and beat Barcelona and we go and win the Carabao Cup final on Sunday because this is what Erik ten Hag does with this Manchester United team. He is elite. And I don't want to be too cocky, but I'm convinced that we're going to lift the trophy on Sunday. I think we can beat Newcastle. I think we should beat Newcastle. It's not an easy game, but I'll beat Wembley, by the way. I'm going to Wembley. Got my ticket. I entered the ballot, was successful. I'm very lucky in that sense. So if anyone's going to Wembley, message me. See if we can get some fans on the channel, see what we can do on that. But I'm excited for Wembley on Sunday as well. We'll have to see how that works out. But I can see us winning it. I'm going down Saturday night, staying the weekend in London. It's going to be a good weekend. And we've also got the press conference coming up as well. Adam and Charlie are at the press conference with Erik ten Hag, and we've got a good question lined up. So hopefully we get to ask it and we can see Erik ten Hag's reply. And I just want to keep hearing more from Erik ten Hag. He speaks like he's born to be in that role of Manchester United manager, and I'm just excited to see what's to come. I think we're favourites for the Europa League along with Arsenal. I can see an Arsenal Man United final if we don't get each other before that, if we don't draw each other before that. Carabao Cup, I see us winning. We're still in the FA Cup. And you know what? Like Erik ten Hag says, we've got to put ourselves in the position in April to be in and around it. The momentum is with Man United right now. We've got Real Betis in the next round of the Europa League. Bring it on. Erik ten Hag and this Man United team. Hopefully, we can carry on and get to the final and win this trophy. Finals in Budapest as well. What a good time. What a good time that's going to be. A few nightclubs going. Getting out there, me and Ricky having a few beers. Well, not a few, quite a lot. Ricky can drink me under the table. I'll tell you that for a fact. And we'll get some good content. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. But thank you, everyone, for getting your comments in down below and being part of this stream. Thank you for joining us. And I will see you on the next one. Stay tuned for the press conference because that is coming up.